on Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
On a Friday afternoon, we welcome you in. It is the Gashouse Gang right here on KMOX. Mike Claiborne is going to join me shortly. The voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, at 12:30. My name's Matt Pauley. It's great to have you with us today. If you want to chime in on what we are talking about today, you have the opportunity to do so. You can always just leave a comment in the video chat for those of you who are watching online, and for those of you who are listening in the more standard kind of ways, you can certainly, let's say, Matt Pajeski just said, do we have claims available, Matt? All right.
It's available.
How about that? Technology working. Love it. Hey, Claves.
How are you, man? It's good to visit with you today.
It is good to visit you with you as well. Let's start with the breaking news. Derek Gould reported just a few moments ago that the Cardinals are making some roster moves coming into this game tonight, in the series tonight against Cincinnati. Cesar Prieto is getting called up reportedly from AAA Memphis, but I think even more interesting than that, catcher Jimmy Crooks, one of the top prospects in the organization, being called up as well. And it's going to be interesting to see how those guys fit in for the rest of the year.
Well, it is interesting. I think that it's probably due. You and I have seen Prieto the last couple of spring trainings, and I've been impressed with him. And so he's probably deserving. And I think if nothing else, it probably pushes some other people and creates competition within the organization.
Yeah, I think that's right. And specifically to Crooks, Claves, the Cardinals have a situation when it comes to their catchers where they got guys that are coming. Leonardo Bernal, there's a lot of reasons to be excited about him, and he's about a year behind Crooks. And right now you have Pages and Pozo doing most of the catching. I do openly wonder, Pozo's having a really tough month of August. We haven't heard the corresponding moves, but I wouldn't be shocked if Pozo's not on the Major League roster coming up this evening. But with Crooks, you got to start the process as soon as possible of kind of figuring out if this guy's going to be a Major League guy or not, because before you know it, Bernal's going to be here, and you got to know what you want to do with Crooks moving forward.
Yeah, and I think there's some other things that go into this. I think maybe you're showcasing some people. And you mentioned Pozo having a tough month. Between he and Pages, they've been getting beat up behind the plate. And maybe one of those guys might be just a little too banged up to continue. But I go back to my original point. I think what this organization needs is some competition from within before you can move on. And not saying that the catching position is in dire need, but I think it sends a message that no job is guaranteed. I think the one job that probably I think is safe is Mason Wynn. I think everybody else is up for grabs. Especially when you think about the corner outfield. And, when you talk about Walker, I think you probably don't know what he is yet. I think we've seen some improvement, but to the point where you say, okay, this is our guy. I think you hold on to him because of the age factor and the fact that he's developing at the big league level compared to spending time in the minor leagues. But I really feel at this point, you just have to see what you have and make guys get a little uncomfortable in knowing that, nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah, before we even knew that these moves were going to be made today, one of the things that I wanted to spend some time talking about was what to do when you get a couple extra guys in September. Is this going to be a chance just to bring up guys that we all are familiar with and know and just kind of have extra guys around? Or is it a chance to give somebody some real chances that they've never had before? And my answer, if we're not going to talk about that as much now because of this happening, but my answer would have been, I'd like to see some guys get that first big league opportunity so you can learn about some of these guys.
No, I agree with you. And it's also probably more of a reward for what Prieto and Crooks have done in the minors. As I mentioned, we've seen Prieto in the spring, and I'm like, okay, this guy's a pretty good player. But the problem is we have such a logjam on the infield, especially at second base and shortstop, that maybe he's a guy that gets showcased enough where somebody else might have an interest, or maybe he plays well enough to put him in the conversation for next spring. And as far as Crooks is concerned, finding left-handed hitting catchers has always been a unique play. And you probably have to go back to Tim McCarver, who hit left-handed, to have a successful catcher in your organization.
Crooks has put up, and Crooks is, according to MLB Pipeline, he's the number 6 prospect in the Cardinals organization. So this is a big deal. This is a top level prospect that's coming in. His offensive season this year, hitting 274 at Memphis, an OPS just under 800, has 14 home runs, 79 RBIs. As far as Cesar Prieto goes, a 295 hitter this year, an 807 OPS at AAA Memphis. So these guys have certainly earned this opportunity. For sure. And these are guys that we've both seen at spring training. I have more of a sense of what we'll see with Cesar Prieto. Catcher is that one position, Claves, where from a defensive standpoint, no matter how good they are at AAA, you don't really know what you have in a defensive catcher until you see them in the big leagues.
No, I agree with you. And he probably needs to take his licks and lumps now compared to starting off a season next year with him not having any big league experience. Those numbers that you just mentioned, man, if you can add 5 points or take away 5 points at the big league level, I think you have a serviceable player.
Yeah.
And that's what they need. They need maybe the next step of players at those positions to be able to step up and do some things. But here's what's interesting. You didn't hear any pitchers being called up. You know why? Because we don't have any. We don't. We've seen everyone this year, and I don't think there's anyone in Memphis that is worthy at this point to start. I mean, their numbers are worse than the ones we have here. So I don't know what they're going to do about that, but they're going to need some pitching in September.
Yeah, and we'll get into that coming up because the Andre Palante is going to make his next start, and I want to spend a little bit more time on that because it's an interesting conundrum. That's what Ali said yesterday. That's what he said.
Are you sure you want to spend some time on that? I think it is what it is, and we can talk about it later. We'll save it for later, but I have my own feelings about where Palante is in his career.
When it comes to Crooks specifically in this final month of the season, we know who Pedro Pages is. As a young guy, are you focusing in on maybe giving Crooks a lot of playing time to just throw him into the fire at the big league level right away?
Hey, he's not here to watch. You might as well throw him in there and see what he's got, see what he has. I think anytime you call up a guy, you don't have him sitting here to watch. Play him and see what he can do. I mean, now, granted, that may also send a signal to the point where you're surrendering the season and you're planning for next year. And if that's the case, I can live with that because, we've seen enough of everybody on this roster, in my opinion, on what they can and what they can't do. So if this is a signal to say we're already moving forward on next year, I'm good with that.
The only guy that I've got an incomplete grade on still is Jordan Walker. And it's just, for me, it's just because he's so young. We see the flashes, and I have confidence that he can still grow into something pretty special. Everybody else, I think what we've seen from Nolan Gorman since June 1st, where he's got close to an 800 OPS, I think that's a legitimate thing. I think what we've seen from Alec Burleson is a legitimate thing. There's a lot of guys who I feel pretty comfortable knowing who they are. I still have no clue what Jordan Walker's going to turn into.
I agree. I just think the fact when he started, he was so young. Then you had COVID. He didn't, as I said before, I think in order to know whether a guy can play at this level, he's got to have at least 1,000 at bats in the minors. He didn't have that. He had to learn on the job at the big league level, along with making a position change. So those are some of the things that I think has slowed his growth down. But overall, you see enough flashes to say, hey, you know what? He might be someone you want to hold on to. And especially defensively. He made that adjustment. He made that switch to the outfield. And let's face it, he was an adventure when balls were hit there. Now he's one of your more reliable players. And he's worked at it. I mean, listen, he deserves the credit on why he's improved, along with, you go back to Willie McGee and John Jay now. He's starting to get it figured out with the bat. He and Brant Brown have really developed a pretty good relationship in being able to do the right things. So we're seeing him grow in smaller increments than some expect. But I think it's a situation where if you stay with him, He will give you numbers. Now, I don't know what those numbers are. I'm like you on that front. Is he a 270 hitter and can hit 25 home runs, drive in 90? I don't know. Does he have that ability? Does he have that physically? You say yes. And when he makes contact, you say, oh, heck yes. But we just don't see enough of that. And I think what he's got to do, and he touched on it yesterday in the postgame, why he doesn't want to divulge what he's trying to do, openly. I think he's kind of figuring out some things. And the key to him is being able to make adjustments, making adjustments not from game to game, but from at bat to at bat.
I had to chuckle there he is talking to you with, 10,000 people there. It's like, I don't really want to answer that question, Claves. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. And so, I think what he's saying, and I kind of got it in here, and I talked a little bit after that about the fact that he doesn't want to do anything to upset the apple cart. And I wanted to say, hey, kid, you don't think they're seeing what you're doing? And so the key is you have to recognize that they've recognized what you're doing, and then you have to be able to pivot and make some adjustments.
To bring this all the way back around, you mentioned the 1,000 career at-bats in the minor leagues before getting to the big leagues. Well, that's certainly the case with the two guys being called up today. Jimmy Crooks has 1,200 career at-bats in the minor leagues. Cesar Prieto, he's coming in just under 1,900. So that's the development process, Claves, that I think you're more comfortable with. Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it used to be done. And I thought you got more bang for your buck when you did it that way. But I understand you see other teams fast track players, and you think maybe this is our guy within the organization we can fast track. I think if they had to do over again, they would have left him there and not let the minor league or spring training numbers enamor them like they did. Throw in the fact we didn't have anybody else play in the outfield either at that time. That was going to give you something that was, and this is something that as an organization, they need to address. We don't have enough big league ready players in the organization. And I said to someone the other day, if we played next year's schedule this year, we'd probably lose 90 to 95 games because we don't have enough, especially when you look at that last month of September in the schedule and the fact you have very few home games. We're lucky for one reason this year. We have not been hurt a lot, especially from a pitching standpoint. I think John King is one of the few people that's been on the IL from a pitching standpoint. I mean, that's unheard of. Yeah, that's crazy. Unheard of. So when you think of it along those lines, and if you look at other teams who've had multiple injuries, look like the Dodgers and their pitching, what if that was us? What if that was the Cardinals with the same guys as far as their rotation is concerned that went down with injury? We'd be done. Okay. We'd probably be chasing the White Sox and the Colorado Rockies as far as the record is concerned. So what the first thing that has to be done is not only stock the organization with big league ready players from within, but also you probably have to find some other players that you need to be able to hold on to that you're going to be able to insert in your organization on that 40-man roster. Because, you look back and you say, well, why did you have Luke and Baker on the roster that long? And there's some other guys you look at and you say to yourself, these guys can't help you at the big league level. And so that's the mindset's got to change there. And instead of falling in love with guys who put up good minor league numbers and good spring training numbers, no, we need guys who can give you quality at bats, quality innings at the big league level, no matter what the calendar says.
That's Mike Claiborne. I'm Matt Pauley. You are locked into the Gashouse Gang. We will get into that Andre Palante conversation. Even though he is struggling so much, he evidently is going to continue to make big league starts. There's a reason for that. Is it a good reason? We'll discuss that coming up in just a moment here on KMOX.
When life happens and you need to sell your St. Louis area home, call trusted realtor Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria is St. Louis's real estate expert with more than 22 years of experience and expertise, helping you sell quickly and for the most money.
Selling your home can be so stressful, especially when life happens, like a sudden job change, a passing of a loved one, or a growing family. Knowing exactly how much your home will sell in today's market is the first step. Then I back it up with an upfront written guarantee. My guarantee is simple and easy to understand. If I can't sell your home at our agreed upon price and time frame, I'll buy it myself.
When life happens, the name to remember is Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. I strongly suggest you call her right now at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Online security is a must, and millions are choosing NordVPN to stay safer and more private online. And you can do that too. Get NordVPN with 77% off and up to 3 months extra. NordVPN will encrypt your online traffic from data snoopers and internet service providers, while NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro will reduce risk of phishing and alert you about the fake online shops and known scams. And that's not all. If your email address is leaked to the dark web, you will get an instant notification from the Dark Web Monitor and act accordingly. Get the special NordVPN deal today at nordvpn.com. This offer includes a 77% discount on a 2-year plan and up to 3 extra months. Savings and additional terms apply and can be found on nordvpn.com. The offer is valid until October 15th.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Registered by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
You asked, we delivered. KMOX, now on FM. Crystal clear sound at 104.1 FM.
So JC takes his lead, and that ball's hit hard to left center field. That's deep. It's back to the wall, and it is gone. A big fly for Jordan Walker.
It's the Gashouse Gang right here on KMOX, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and also by Anderson Hospital. Alongside of Mike Claiborne, I'm Matt Pauley. We are taking you till 1 o'clock today. Cardinals baseball tonight, opening up a series against the Cincinnati Reds. Claibs, Katie Wu of The Athletic had an interesting piece about Andre Palante and his place in the Cardinals rotation. And after his last start, and he's had a wretched month of August. It's just been really bad for him from a stat standpoint, and he's getting really frustrated. You can tell how hard he's working, and the results are just not following along. A lot of us thought after Ollie's comments after Palante's last start that, you know what, maybe Palante's not going to make his next start, but then Ollie said yesterday he is, and the idea behind it is you don't have a whole, like you mentioned earlier, the Cardinals don't have a whole lot of starting pitching depth. You really want Palante to be a guy who can be in the mix come next season, and him going down to Memphis and getting AAA hitters out is not going to help him the way getting it figured out, if he can get it figured out at the big league. So in many ways, he becomes a sacrificial lamb in an effort of trying to get things worked out against big leaguers. We have lost. I don't hear Claibs.
Yes.
All right, we'll see if we can
you hear me now? Is that better?
Claims right now, so we'll try to get that worked out here in just a second or so. But so just my thoughts on this is, It's where the Cardinals are at right now, where the results of this season and the wins and losses of this season are playing second fiddle.
Can you hear me now?
This team
How's
being
that?
able to get itself prepared for next year and the
about
years
that?
moving forward. And Claibs
Can
and
you
I
hear me
talked
now?
about this earlier. From a starting pitching depth standpoint, outside of Quinn Matthews at AAA, there's not a lot that's going to be able to help the team anytime soon. Liam Doyle is probably in the mix next year, but he's probably not somebody who you're having break camp with the team when he's never thrown a professional inning. He's probably somebody who, if he can get off to a hot start in his professional career next year, he has the opportunity to ascend very quickly. But I would be bluntly surprised if a Liam Doyle's on your opening day roster next year. And I don't get any sense that he is going to I don't get any sense that they're going to really add a lot in terms of starting pitching this offseason. Do they bring in maybe some type of veteran to compete for a job and just add a little bit of competition? Maybe that is something that they do, but I'm not convinced that they're going to bring in somebody that's going to be towards the top of the rotation. I believe we have Mike Claiborne back. Is that correct?
I'm back. In
All
the
right,
house.
there we go.
A couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, Katie Wu is also reporting that Burleson is on the IL. He's been battling a wrist injury for the last 3 weeks. And Pozo, as we mentioned, has been beaten up behind the plate so much he has a concussion. So he's on concussion protocol. So that's why we have those two guys called up. To touch on Palante, a lot of things to talk about there with regard to the fact that, Palante, and Ricky Horton pointed this out the other day, Palante was really good at getting lefties out with his stuff. Now he can't get lefties out because he's trying to experiment with too many other pitches. And so the one thing he was good at, he's no longer good at that. He was a sinker slider guy. And now he's throwing a sweeper and a changeup. He doesn't, either one of those pitches aren't working. He's trying to throw a knuckle curve that he continues to spike. So right now his arsenal has really, failed him with regard to him being able to be productive. And I'm not sure how you fix that. He's not the guy that you thought he would be. And, let's face it, he's a guy that probably is the back end of your rotation if you have a good team.
Yeah. And
now he's not even that because of the fact that, you just can't count on him. And as Ali mentioned, we don't have anybody in the minors that's better. And it's an unfortunate situation that, granted, we thought Matthews, we thought Hentz, we thought some other guys, Jerpy, all those guys in spring training, we thought might have a seat at the table before this was all said and done. But that's not the case because of injury and just ineffectiveness. So now you're stuck with some career minor league guys who could get crushed up here at this point in the year. So, I'm not sure if that helps at all. The other concern is, I know some would say, well, why don't we have a bullpen start? Well, the way this bullpen is being used this year, I don't know if they have enough innings to spare to be able to put them in a game where they would be able to go 2 innings here, 2 innings there, because we use the bullpen virtually every night just to stay in games. So I don't know if that works. And we're in Cincinnati, by the way, which, as you know, is a launching pad in its own right. So everybody's going to be in the pool swimming this weekend. I can promise you that.
The only thing I would push back a little bit on, and it's only because Palante has been so non-competitive in the month of August. If all you're looking for is replacement level guys, I think somebody like an Aaron Wilkerson or a Curtis Taylor who have put up good numbers at AAA this year. And again, I'm not sitting here telling you that these are God's gifts to pitching and they're going to come on and they're going to be, amazing. But I feel like those guys, if you give them a chance, have a better opportunity of giving you a competitive start than what you're getting right now from Andre Palante.
I can understand that argument.
Yeah.
I just, man, I
can understand your argument.
I mean, it's, you know what, you could flip a coin on this, and I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer because I think we can make arguments for both sides and arguments on why not. I think what you have and also is if you call these guys up, you got to find a spot on the 40-man roster for them because they're not on the 40. So that's another issue that you have to deal with.
That is a part of it. They got some spots available, but there are long-term implications to that as well. We are going to take a break. We may revisit this in our final segment, but up next, we are going to be joined by the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. He's with us in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. This is the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here for the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life, not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM, KMOX.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
We do have a chance for some showers coming up later on today after 4 o'clock or so. Sunny skies. We are approaching a high of 85 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, low at 61. Your weekend forecast, Saturday, sunny, high of 86. Sunday, sunny, mostly sunny, with a high of 83. Weather being presented by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From now on, if you spring a leak, need a water heater, or have hard water,
thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Electrical.
Jerry Kelly will fix the leak, install the thing, and make that hard water easy. From the company who's got your whole home covered.
JerryKelly.com. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. All good things must come to an end, and this is your last chance to move to the Preserve. Choose for one of our 6 move-in ready market homes or our magnificent Turnberry display at Mackenzie and Watson Road. Enjoy the many trails, lakes, and loads of wooded common ground at this terrific location. Take advantage of the tremendous savings and special 5.5% 30-year fixed financing on select homes. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Today, the Cards, the Reds.
Emron Total Access 445.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Now, the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
Ran it down. Ran it. A swing, and that ball is hit into center field. Caught on the run by Sajasi for a Redbird winner. Looked like that ball might get down, but Sajasi with good speed ran it down.
Fun way for yesterday's game to come to an end. Welcome back in. It is the Gashouse Gang here on KMOX alongside of Mike Claiborne. I'm Matt Pauley. Cardinals Reds tonight from Cincinnati. Matthew Liberatore against Zach Littell, the pitching matchup. And the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, will be on the call of the game. But before he can do that this evening, he's going to join us right now. John, appreciate your time. How's Cincinnati?
Cincinnati is fine. The weather's good here, and the Reds are hoping that they can stay in the playoff race while the Cardinals have other ideas. Listening to that highlight, I thought I was repeating myself there at the beginning.
My bad.
Hey, the news of the day is that Jimmy Crooks and Cesar Prieto are reportedly being called up. You've been doing this a long time, John. You've seen tons and tons of guys make their major league debuts, but how much fun is it for you when these players who have spent their lives for this moment get to reach this peak of being a Major League Baseball player?
Well, not for me, but for everybody involved in getting that player, just through school and through high school and into college, or if they're drafted out of high school, get them through the minors and make it all the way to the majors, or coming from a foreign country and playing professional baseball. And the idea is to make it to Major League Baseball. And both of those guys have certainly hit their way to this moment. Prieto, we've noticed how he can put the ball in play. He can get on base. He can make some things happen. And Jimmy Crooks has done nothing but hit for extra base hits and runs batted in ever since he left Oklahoma.
You know what, John, one of the neat things about when these guys get called up, and we've done this with a number of players in the past, is when they get their first hit or their first strikeout, we have a recording of it and we'll pass it on to them. And I know players that have put that under as their ringtone and things like that, and they send it on to their families. And I get a kick out of those moments for those young players. But as you touched on with both those guys in Pareto and Crooks, they've earned the right to be here. And I think it also says a lot about the fact we don't have enough legitimate pitching at this time to bring up. And we certainly need some more pitching. But I think these two guys have really earned the right to be here, and I'm looking forward to watching them in action.
Well, the way they put the ball in play and what they've done to help Memphis have a pretty darn good year, I think they'll really help this Cardinal offense and help support the pitching. As we were saying yesterday, somebody help that man, Miles Michaelis. He had a run to tie the game after giving up the home run to Tommy Pham. The Cardinals came back to tie it, but get him some offense. Now, Miles didn't get the win yesterday, but I still admire the way Miles and Palante, who's really struggled, they're working very hard. They're trying to find a combination. They're trying to find what works. They are searching and searching. And here they are putting in all that effort. And to see some of that rewarded yesterday for Miles, I think that will mean something in his starts going forward.
I don't know what the future holds for Miles in a Cardinal uniform, but I will say this, and we've been around him from day one. I don't know a guy who's more of a consummate professional on and off the field. And he takes the ball every fifth day. He has no issues about injuries. He's had one, I think he had the forearm issue early in his career in St. Louis, but he takes the ball no matter what. And you have to appreciate guys like that because you look around the league, there are a lot of guys who would beg off, but Miles is not one of those guys.
Well, we talk about accountability in sports these days, and Miles Michaelis is right there at his locker in the clubhouse, whether he is the winning pitcher or the losing pitcher, or whether he gives up a ton of runs, and that's happened several times. But other games where he's pitched pretty well, they just didn't get him any run support, yet he's there to talk about what they want to discuss when he meets with the media after games. And I've always appreciated that about him, too.
We're talking with the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. He, along with Ricky Horton, will be on the call tonight. Cardinals and Reds. Yesterday, John, there was the 3-run seventh inning where Thomas Saggese had the tying double, or the tie-breaking double, and then also Jordan Walker hits the home run. For young guys like Saggese and Walker who are really trying to find themselves, how important can moments like those be for them?
I don't care who you are, Matt. If you're struggling and you're working really hard trying to find your way through in any career, let alone baseball, if you don't have positive things happen, it's very difficult to gain some progress. They had positive things happen after putting in a lot of work and a lot of time to try to implement the various techniques in the batting stance or in the way they approach pitches, whatever it may be, working with the Cardinal hitting coaches to try to straighten things out to where they can be productive members of the offense. They had positive things happen yesterday and helped the team win the game. So that's huge in any development.
Cincinnati has not been a good place to play this year because it seems like it's the new bandbox in baseball. What are you looking for out of the Cardinals this weekend as they go into Cincinnati? And, because Cincinnati's been struggling lately too, it still gives you hope that the Cardinals can climb back into this postseason race, and they're going to have to beat Cincinnati in order to prove it.
Well, if the Cardinals are going to play a lot of meaningful games when we turn the page to September next week, Claves, it has to begin here with this 3-game series. And then we have 3 games with Cincinnati left on the schedule at Busch Stadium on the last homestand. So these are very important games and very important for Cincinnati. I think there'll be an intensity to this series that we haven't seen this late in the season here in Cincinnati, because they have high hopes of still running down the New York Mets or maybe even San Diego. You have the Cubs, San Diego, and the Mets that are jockeying for position among the 3 wild card eligible teams right now. And Arizona has played a little better baseball. We have the Athletics and the Giants coming in. The Giants, I think, have won 5 straight now. But the Reds, they lost 6 out of 7 on their road trip. They're reeling a little bit. They have some good arms, and we're going to see a pretty good one in Littell tonight. And I hope the Cardinals get a good response from their starter, Matthew Liberatore. Matthew has looked good up to about 70 pitches. I'd love to see him just go ahead and put some things together and have a great finish as he has, 4 or 5 remaining starts.
John, how much credit do you give to Terry Francona for this year's Reds team still being in playoff contention as the calendar is about to turn to September?
Well, he's developed a mindset there for sure, but he's also been able to manage some pretty good arms out of that pitching staff, whether it be with their starters or their bullpen. And he's had some things to work with there, but here's a great manager. And he's going to be a Hall of Fame manager when he decides to call it quits for good. And he still had a hunger to be in the game and be in the dugout. So I'm happy for Terry Francona. I got to know him many, many years ago, and he managed Michael Jordan for the Chicago White Sox down in Birmingham while he was managing in the minors and then coming up as a coach and then getting a chance to manage at the big league level. He worked some miracles in Boston, breaking the curse of the Bambino, and did a great job getting Cleveland to the World Series. And had the rain delay happen with Cleveland still batting, I think Cleveland would have beaten the Cubs in that series, because weather conditions and one thing and another, when you come back out to hit after a long rain delay, I'd rather be at the plate than be in the field. But that's for another discussion. But Terry Francona, he knows what he's doing. He's a good players manager, and he's done a good job here in Cincinnati, and we'll see how it all plays out when it's all said and done.
He is the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. He's on the call tonight, Cardinals and Reds. John, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today, and we'll be listening this evening.
Okay, and Claves, we didn't have the cups. We miss you on the trip.
No, don't worry. We have a couple more trips in store, so I will make sure you have the cups and more.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
All right, very good. That's the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. He mentioned the Michael Jordan thing. Do you ever sometimes, like, I'll see something on TV or whatever, John will mention it, and I just kind of transport myself back to what a odd, like, era or moment in time in sports when all of a sudden Michael Jordan is playing baseball.
Yeah, it was a real unique time, but we also had the forerunners and Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson, who was switching sports. It was different, and I'm really surprised we don't see more of that. I mean, because there's some really good athletes that are out there, but I guess the fact that it is really a challenge physically and mentally, they stick with one sport, and also the money's a lot better, than what it was, during that period of time for Michael and Bo and Deion.
Yeah, it's a couple things. So the specialization of sports starting younger and younger, which is the dumbest thing in the world in amateur athletics. I hate it. But it, like a Sam Horn, who is a Mizzou football quarterback, he's going to go play baseball. Once he's done with his football career, he's already signed with the Dodgers here moving forward. So it just seems like once you get to a certain point, everybody wants you to make a decision, one sport or the other. And we just don't see it as often.
And you know what? And here's the problem with that. And I agree with you. I think, guys, if you can do it, go for it. But it's the mindset that coaches and parents have where you can only play one. Well, we were playing multiple sports growing up, and I know it gets harder as you get older to play more than one sport, but there are certain guys I think can do it. But I think the mindset is you got to decide on one, and I just don't agree with that at all. Not that I was a two-sport player at a professional level, but I think there's some guys that can do it, and I think the biggest example I think about him now is Antonio Gates, who never played a down of football in college. He's a good basketball player, and football knocked on his door, and now he's in the Hall of Fame. And you have to wonder how many other guys are walking around with that skill set that could be playing both sports.
Well, again, going back to Sam Horn, he threw 15 innings of college baseball, and he got drafted by the Dodgers and got way above slot money. And and there's still the injury risk that goes along with it. So if you can do it, no matter what the sport is, if you've got the pieces in your body to be able to do it, I feel like the scouts out there are going to find you.
Oh, I agree. And I don't care what level you're playing on. You're going to be, scouts and technology will find you if you're a really good player.
That's Mike Claiborne. I'm Matt Pauley. This is the Gashouse Gang right here on KMOX. We'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up a little bit about the news of the day with the players coming up. We're getting a lot of talk about, hey, why not J.J. Weatherholt? This isn't exciting. Well, you know what? If the number 6 prospect in the organization getting called up isn't exciting to you, I'm sorry, but it is a big deal that Jimmy Crooks is getting called up. We got a couple more things to get to. We'll do that in just a moment. It's the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're from Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
Bernie Miklas here for Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. The Saliga family's been taking great care of St. Louis since 1927 and still have the best and most trustworthy customer service in town. Saliga can handle all of your heating and air conditioning needs for home or business. They offer free estimates and financing options, and they won't leave you hanging if there's an emergency. The Miklas family's been calling on Saliga for more than 15 years, and we fully appreciate their knowledge, their class, and their integrity. Saliga's never tried to pressure us. They always take the time to discuss all the available options, including low-cost solutions. Saliga has saved us good money with their Priority Club maintenance program, which extends the life of our equipment. Members receive priority service and the peace of mind in knowing their home will be safe and comfortable during all 4 seasons. The Miklas family truly values Saliga Heating and Cooling, and you will too. For more information, call Saliga at 314-481-7333 or visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at Missouri Broadcasters.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey St. Louis, this is Ben Barnett, board certified master arborist with Timberline Professional Tree Care. In my nearly 30 years in the industry, I've seen firsthand what damage falling trees can do to your property. The sad thing is that most trees that fail have defects that can be identified by a well-trained certified arborist. At Timberline, we have 7 ISA certified arborists, 3 of which have gone through extensive training and testing to become tree risk assessment qualified. Our track certified arborists can perform a thorough assessment of your tree and provide mitigation options for your peace of mind. If there's nothing wrong with your tree, we will let you know that it poses a low risk of failure. If it needs to be removed, we'll tell you in a detailed written report. It's all about honesty and integrity here at Timberline Professional Tree Care. So call us today to get a tree risk assessment scheduled, 636-479-7475, or contact us through our website at stltreecare.com.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Just a few minutes left on this edition of the program. Alongside of Mike Claiborne, I'm Matt Pauley. We appreciate you being tuned in with us. As always, the Gashouse Gang is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and by Anderson Hospital. Claibs, we have not gotten an update on the Wilson Contreras appeal of his suspension. This is taking a little bit of time here. Are you surprised it's taking so long?
I really am. Normally
because
this is done like the next day. The appeal, they do it on the phone, the whole 9 yards, and you get something resolved. I really felt like it was going to be, obviously, I think it's going to be reduced, and I thought he'd take this series off against Cincinnati, and we'd see him on Monday. But that's not been the case so far. So I'm not sure what they're waiting on. It was pretty blatant on what took place. So it's not, I don't know why we're waiting around for the inevitable.
Okay, so the way he reacted, I think he reacted poorly, and most people can agree with that. But I do have to wonder, that was an umpire in Derek Thomas who already has, in a very short amount of time, he has developed a reputation for hearing things that are not actually being said. And I have to wonder if Major League Baseball is spending a little bit of extra time here trying to figure out if they've got a problem in Derek Thomas.
That's a great point you make. And I'm sure the union, on both unions, the umpires and also the players unions, are probably going back and forth on this also. You're right. For a small sample size, this guy's got himself in front of a lot of people here recently. So you have to wonder, is that the problem also? And I think the reaction of Wilson kind of says that, and being a catcher, Wilson understands how to relate and how to talk to umpires. And we've seen him go back and forth from time to time, but I think he still has the catcher mentality of communicating. And for him to turn around in the manner that he did, maybe that's a red flag right there. Because, again, Wilson's been at this a long time, and you don't see him blow up like that, and maybe that's the reason why this is taking a little longer, because maybe there's more to the story than maybe what we saw on video.
We've got a number of comments, and again, if you're just joining us, the news of the day is that Jimmy Crooks and Cesar Prieto is being called up from AAA Memphis. Alec Burleson is going to the injured list. Joel Pozo is into concussion protocol. So those are the reported roster moves, not yet confirmed by the Cardinals. I get that a lot of fans really want to see J.J. Weatherholt, but I think, first off, Jimmy Crooks is the number 6 prospect in the organization. The right feeling, I would believe, is the excitement to go along with being able to see one of these young players coming up. And the thing that confuses me, Claibs, about the reaction sometimes, if they call up J.J. Weatherholt, that's fine. But I think it's also fine if they don't, because everybody seems to be so excited about what's going to happen with Chaim Bloom moving forward. Well, if you're really excited about Chaim Bloom moving forward, you know what you want? You want as clear of a palette as possible. And that means as many 40-man roster spots open as possible so Bloom can start doing his work in the most impactful kind of way in the offseason. So if they're valuing those 40-man roster spots over J.J. Weatherholt getting a few weeks at the big leagues, I think there's value to that.
I agree. You need to know what you have, because I expect this to be a very busy offseason. First of all, cleaning up your 40 man. That's the first thing, and creating spots to bring in people who can be more present with regard to moving up the ladder compared to just leveling off. So yeah, I get it. And if they give me that 40 man roster, I can pare that thing down for you in a hurry. Okay, I've seen enough people to say, okay, he's not going to make us any better. So Prieto, and I'm wondering how they're going to use him, considering you have Sajasi playing second base. You don't know when Brendan Donovan's coming back. Is he a backup to Mason Wynn? I mean, I don't know. I'm anxious to see how they use him. I think Crooks is going to play soon. Pages has been beaten up behind the plate as well, and you might as well take a look at him. You don't have anything to lose right now. Nathan Church, he's been okay. He's not hitting like you would want him to, but you know what? You're getting a longer look at him. And I think that sends a message to what do you think of Lars Nootbaar? What is his future on this ball club as an outfielder? I think Burleson has cemented himself as a guy you're going to move forward with, but you also want to showcase players that you maybe get something back for if some other teams think he can help them. So a lot of moving parts right now. Would I like to see Weatherhole here? Yeah, because I want to see the team be better. But I understand the big picture here as well, and that's probably one of the reasons why we won't see him.
There is some redundancy with both Cesar Prieto and Jose Fermin on the roster.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we've seen Fermin, and I think Fermin can play. I don't know if he's an everyday guy. I think he's a guy that's very serviceable. He kind of reminds me of Mundo Sosa, and Sosa has gone on to have a pretty good, steady career with the Philadelphia Phillies. So, you don't want to have too many of those guys, but you want to have guys that when you call them up, they can give you a quality at bat, or they can go in the field and give you some legitimate defense. And we've seen that Fermin has been able to do that this season. So why not take a look at Prieto? Because since he's been in the organization, he's done a lot of things that you like, but you just don't know what he looks like at the big league level when it comes to a position.
Final comment from a viewer. Gary says the Cardinals have 3 catchers. This is why they're asking for another catcher. They don't have 3 catchers. Ivan Herrera is not a catcher for the rest of this season. We'll see if he's going to be at some point moving forward, but he's not catching this year. And if Pozo is on the concussion list, that means you have one guy who can catch on the roster, and you have to bring somebody up.
Yeah, and I know Wilson played it, but he hasn't caught all year. No. So you're right about your point. They were former catchers, in my opinion.
Right.
You just can't throw the gear on and get behind the plate and say, let's do this. You can't do it. I mean, so yeah. I think that makes it logical for Crooks to be here.
Claibs, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you back at the ballpark coming up on Monday.
I can't wait. Thanks for the time today. Enjoy working with you, sir, and looking forward to next week.
Awesome. Very good. That's Mike Claiborne. I always enjoy being able to spend a little bit of time with him. That's just about going to do it for the program. Again, Cardinals baseball tonight. A little bit of an earlier start with them out in the Eastern time zone. So Cincinnati. So our coverage is going to begin, I believe, at 4:45 today. And it's the Cardinals and the Reds. It's the Dave Glover Show, and it's on the way next right here on KMOX.